Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to another episode of Initial DIY Mods. So just a quick update for you. So we have the donor car. It is this red one sitting right here, which is awesome. Engine is out of the Mini Cooper. We put the core support and the crash bar back on to see if we can get some mock-up. Looks like the radiator's going to fit. Looks like a lot of stuff is going to fit and swap in relatively easily. So if anyone else wants to follow or build along, for the most part, this seems like it's going to be a pretty straightforward swap, which is cool because they are totally different cars from totally different worlds. It's an awesome integration on this one. Another update with the channel. So we've actually, as you know, we launched our website a couple weeks ago. We have the store up and running. So the store, if you want to go to the page, is once again, it's initialDIYmods.com. You go to that page. There's a store link on the top hand, rightish hand side. You can go there, click it, check out some of the shirts we have. We have a couple of shirts and a couple of stickers. There are shirts for guys, shirts for girls. There are premium tees, and we have hoodies and long sleeve shirts. So pretty much got a decent variety. I hope if you guys want to see something specific, of course, let me know. So before I get too carried away with the introductions, let's just hop to the video because this is going to be pretty cool in such a horrible way, because once again, this car is awesome and horrible all at the same time. You'll see what I mean right here. All right, guys. This is the car. Are you ready? All right, so here it is. 1991 Mitsubishi Eclipse GSX. It's a 2.0 liter. I'm not 100% sure what exhaust this is, but it's fucking huge. Obviously a lot of rust, but for us, that's not a huge deal. Fuel tank, there's I believe a 255 liter per hour pump already in there, which should be enough for the initial power that we'll be making. All-wheel drive, that's the key. ECU just laying there like it should, not bolted to anything, because that's the best way to do it. All right, so here we have our 1G, 4G, 6.3 turbo all-wheel drive with a manual transmission. Now, one of the notable things about this car is the fuel pressure regulator. And one thing that's always good to make sure of, especially in the Mitsubishi world, is that that's as loose as possible. You don't want to get too much fuel to your regulator, because that can make you get too much horsepower and break some pistons. Another thing you're going to want to make sure with your Mitsubishi is that the lowest hanging point on your car is the clutch line, because if that hooks anything, then at least you're not going to break any pistons. You're also going to want to make sure that you have nothing hooked up to the wastegate, because you want all the boost. Make sure your header doesn't have all the bolts in it. Make sure you don't have any hose clamps here going into your turbo. Make sure you don't have a filter or anything. You want your MAF to get straight air. Fuck these plugs. Now, this used to be an automatic, so we do have a jumper here, which apparently allows, fools the car into thinking it's in neutral. One thing to note here, you want to make sure that your radiator bottle is not sealed. You want to have that cap just popped off. You want your overflow reservoir to just dangle. You know, if you can have it hit the drive shaft, that would be even better. But as you see, I'm not at that level yet, so it's just hanging here off the back of the frame. You want to make sure you have your breathers set up here, so that only one of them goes to the catch can, and the other one just sprays in your car, making a mess. Make sure you disconnect as many wires as possible, so that if you sell it to anybody, they will have no idea what this is for. Another thing, only one headlight worked, so basically I hooked in the other headlight, and we wanted to make sure that inside nothing's hooked up to any of the bulbs, because once again, that's just going to make things easier for them, and we wouldn't want to do that. And again, you want to make sure that you have untaped wires just dangling as close to the turbo as possible. If it was touching, it'd be even better. Just going to want to tie that off like that. Some fucking tape. You know, make sure it goes down, wraps around the heater hose. That's the best way. And then you want to make sure it comes over here and possibly gets caught in the transmission linkage. That'd be great. Well, that's how you mount a coil pack. You just let it dangle there like some dangly balls. All right, believe it or not, I did clean this up a little bit.
Once again, all these wires, who the hell knows what they go to. This was the old battery cable that they had hooked up, and what they did was they ran it to a fuse box, except the fuse broke, so then they hooked up a jumper cable, or just a piece of cable here to make a jumper, basically to bypass the fuse since it was broken. I don't know why they did this, because this is more effort than this, which was actually laying over there in some trash, which was already inside the car, and that basically works way better. So that's kind of hilarious the way they had that set up. You can tell this thing sat in the forest, lots of switches, lots of trash, extra boost necks. This is part of the side skirt. The timing cover is in here. Back seats look like shit. I don't even know what this is. I'm gonna go with not important. That is a fender, because the fender that's on here is from the wrong car. So that's exciting. So we got some 5 Love 16-inch rims with some Audi logo, and these are on 205 55 16s. The car did not come with an auxiliary belt, so luckily they took one off their car and threw it on for me, which was nice, because again, they could have just left it like everything else in this car and just leave it disconnected and dangling. Why not? All right, so going inside the car. Of course, 3 pedals, because it is a stick shift, but the transmission has no spring in it to return this back to the center. And it is a 5-speed. Damn it. Get in reverse, you fucking asshole. Yeah, reverse. So we've got a boost gauge here in the AC, oil pressure gauge here also in the air conditioning, a very vacant triple pod with water temp here. And the reason it is vacant is because we've got 2 more gauges in the seat over here. We have an exhaust temperature gauge and a wideband gauge that was cut off to give to somebody else. And then the wiring, of course, all coiled up for the wideband. Just chilling right there. Lots of free tools with this car. You can see that giant ass drill bit. We've got some bendies here and some screwdrivers. None of these are mine. This all came with the car. Of course, the fender that's not painted to match the car is here. I'm gonna have to transfer this over to the Mini. I'll do something about the boost gauge because I don't like that. It's not a very accurate one. But I do like this tachometer, and that goes up to 9,000. Of course, red line's at 7, but these cars are known to be able to rev up to almost 9 grand without any real modifications to them, which is pretty cool. No stereo, who needs that? I'll be transferring some of this stuff over. Obviously that shit doesn't need to. So this has a switch for the fuel pump. I'll have to mount it somewhere in the Mini. But nothing more race car than having your own fuel switch. Check out the back. Got a battery box. It's not hooked up to anything. You've got Mountain Dew. There is no headliner in this car. There isn't much of anything. It's a lot of broken plastic trim panels, remnants of a headliner. I don't know if any of this works. It's like operating a VCR, for crying out loud. Oh, seat doesn't fold forward. Well, isn't that? There we go. Sweet. Good, I needed more adapters. Fucking screws, drill bits. Ew. That was wet. Ew. The fuck is that? It smells like piss. Jesus. The timing on this car is way off. Basically, stepping on the throttle bogs the car down, almost like it's gonna spin in reverse, and then it starts spinning back up again, and it's just like you gotta like blip it and then hit it. And so I think the timing is either way too far advanced, probably advanced, retarded. I don't know. I'm not good with timing because I'm good with electronic timing control because I have never had a car that was 25, 26 years old before. But we're gonna see what we can do with it, obviously. All right, so in order to start this car, first thing we gotta do is pop the trunk. Open that bad boy up. Notice the battery doesn't need to be bolted down to anything. I actually stole this from the Mini Cooper. Since it doesn't have an engine, it doesn't really care. Flip our breaker, close the hatch. I've actually never driven this car. Not gonna put a seatbelt because I don't really have that option. Turn the key on position. Gotta turn on our fuel pump. It always takes 2 times to do this. Oops, it was in gear. Alright, now we're not in gear. Here's what happens if I push the throttle. It really rumbles and surges. If I push it fast, it does that. So here's half throttle. So I think the timing's really shit on this. But let me go ahead and put it in first. Hard to see out this windshield, Jesus. Driving my car for the first time. Oh, this thing does not roll too. Piece of shit. All right. Can't see out the windshield for shit. Oh. Come on, buddy. Alright, well, you get the idea. The shit runs. Sort of. But, like I said, I really need to fix it. Yeah, I really do need to fix a lot of the stuff on this car, so it's super rough. Basically, the plan is I'm going to fix up the GSX. I don't care how it looks. I don't care if it's street legal. Don't really give too much of a shit. Then I'm going to get it fixed. Then I'm gonna drive it, make sure everything's good. Then I'm gonna pull the engine, the transmission, all the shit, start putting it in the Mini. And that is the game plan, pretty much. Calling it good because fuck it! Ah!